You're watching ABC 7 News at 7.
I get some of my biggest crowds in red counties across the state of Florida because I believe I'm coming with a vision that addresses many of the pocketbook issues that impact Republicans and Democrats.
The primary for governor less than 2 weeks away, and Democratic candidate Chris King wants your vote. Will he win the nomination? Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have Alan Cohn's exclusive interview with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris King. But first, a Korean War vet left searching for answers, waiting for the nation's second highest award 67 years later. I sat down with Marine Corporal Salvatore Nemo to tell the tale of his act of heroism, and we dig deeper to try and get him some answers.
I fell to my knees and I thank God I was still alive.
It was Friday, September 14th, 1951.
As the mortars were hitting close by, there was a real loud blast that was really close by.
A day Salvatore Nemo vividly remembers. As his daughter celebrated her first birthday back home in New Jersey, he was serving his country in Korea. As Chinese enemy troops continued to rain their fire on Nemo and his company, the then 20-year-old ran to the aid of two Marines screaming for a corpsman.
I says, I have to go and try to help these guys and see what's wrong. So as I was carrying the first Marine out, another mortar hit close by and I landed on the ground trying to protect him, and I felt something burn, but I didn't know what it was at the beginning.
After getting that Marine to safety and being treated for his own injuries, Nemo went back for the second wounded Marine, again braving intense artillery fire.
They told me that, no, don't do that because there's a lot of mortars still coming in, so I said, I have to go back. I ran back and picked up the other Marine who was really wounded badly, and I carried him back as well.
While returning back to his position, Nemo realized the bunker where he had sought shelter no longer existed.
So as I was going to go back to my own bunker then, that bunker was hit with a direct hit and killed the fellow that was with me in the bunker at the time. So I jumped into the bunker that was hit by where I took these two Marines out, and I heard a bugle sound down below the mountain.
As wave after wave of Chinese soldiers advanced on Nemo, he tried his best to fight off the enemy with rifles and grenades. Just as Nemo started to lose hope, the Chinese army started to retreat.
My platoon lieutenant came out and he said to me, he says, oh my God, you did one hell of a job. I says, I don't know what you're talking about. He went out in the front and he counted 36 dead enemy troops. He says, I'm going to recommend you for a medal. I didn't pay any attention to that. I was just glad to be alive.
That platoon leader killed in action 2 days later. Now, 67 years after his act of heroism, Nemo still has no medal to honor the bravery he showed that day. But then, just last year, there was a glimpse of hope after Nemo got in touch with the commander of his company, Lieutenant Bruce Myers. Myers then rallied up the troops once more, finding those who witnessed Nemo's actions to help nominate him for the Navy Cross, the nation's second highest award for valor. That request sent to Congressman Vern Buchanan's office in November of 2016.
They had the recommendation from the commanding officer. They had 5 notarized letters, plus my own letter as to what happened that day. And still I haven't heard one word in all of this time.
And here we are, August of 2018.
I understand that Vern Buchanan is a veteran's man. You think that he would now pursue this a little bit and find out for himself what's going on with this. But he hasn't done anything.
Nemo says since that request was originally filed,
the commanding officer is deceased, my captain is deceased, 2 men with dementia, they can't even recognize their family. I'm 86 years old, my corpsman is 88 years old who's having problems. You know, how long do they think that we're going to last?
Since no one from Buchanan's office has responded back to Nemo, I reached out to his office asking about the status of Nemo's request. A spokesperson for Vern Buchanan, Sally Dion, only had this to say. Mr. Nemo is a hero. It is outrageous that he has had to wait this long. We will continue to work with Mr. Nemo in the Marine Corps to ensure that he gets the recognition he has earned. Dion added that the only document holding up that request was the missing information of Nemo's corpsman, Thomas Ambrose.
As a matter of fact, I think my corpsman says that he received one call from somebody stating that they wanted his serial number or something.
We were there when that same someone called Nemo.
I can call him and get it from him, and then I can call you back.
It was a man from the Citrus County Korean War Veterans Association who recently took up Nemo's case. He too says it's the serial number of the Navy corpsman who bandaged Nemo's injuries that they need confirmed.
I know what I did, they know what I did, but why they're dragging their feet, I have no idea.
So now, what's the holdup? I've reached out to the Secretary of the Navy, Headquarters Marine Corps, and the National Archives to see where Mr. Nemo's request is and why it's tied up. They have the information they were looking for, Mr. Thomas Ambrose's serial number. We here at ABC7 gave it directly to them. So when will Mr. Nemo get the answers he deserves?
It would be very nice to have, but is it going to be reality? I don't know. I don't know.
A reality he says he may never see, but one he won't give up on.
I don't know how much time I got left, so I just wait it out and see what happens. I have nothing else to do but wait.
When we come back, we sit down with Mr. Nemo and a man with a Florida organization that took up his case to also help get him the recognition he deserves. But first, let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with a look at our first alert forecast. Bob?
Thanks, Jacqueline. Some showers and some thunderstorms now scattered about the Sun Coast, blowing up along the sea breeze front. We've had a steady southeasterly wind, and with a west coast breeze right there along I-75, some showers have been popping up here and there. The area that was occurring near Venice is weakening now. It was pretty big. It produced a few lightning strikes near North River Road, I-75, pretty heavy rainfall along US 41. And then it is now weakening. So that shower is going to be continuing to move off to the west-northwest and dying out. The one up near Palmetto, though, pretty strong. You see that light rain lingering now near East Venice Avenue. And then this one still producing some lightning strikes near Palmview, stretching down to Palmetto and into Bradenton, Elwood Park, along State Road 64 and in Ellington. Some pretty heavy rainfall right now, and that is going to be weakening here too in the next half hour as it pushes off to the northwest. So again, these pop-up showers are still possible for the next couple of hours as that east wind continues to collide with the west coast sea breeze, and looks as though right now things are fairly quiet in downtown Sarasota and across Lakewood Ranch. As current conditions go, we have 88 degrees now and winds out of the west at 8 and the humidity at 67%. Well, much more on our weather and much more for ABC7 News at 7 coming up in just a few minutes.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, canoeing, camping, and more. Or challenge yourself on Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy a Deep South dining experience. Book your adventure in one of our members' lodges or stay at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Introducing the ABC7 First Alert Weather Tracker. This all-new mobile weather lab is just one more way. The team you trust is keeping you ahead of the storms. The ABC7 First Alert Weather Tracker, sponsored by Mr. Sparky, America's on-time electrician.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back. A Korean War veteran waiting 67 years for a Navy Cross, the nation's second highest award for valor. Those who have nominated him or witnessed his acts of heroism have either passed on or can no longer remember. His application remains in limbo with no government officials responding to where it stands. So what now? We tried to get answers for this Marine corporal. He joins us now, Salvatore Nemo, as well as a man who recently took up his case, Colonel Robert Crawford with the Citrus County Korean War Veterans Association. Thank you both for joining us this evening. Now, Salvatore, I wanted to ask you first, what is the biggest memory you remember of the day, September 14th, 1951?
Well, first of all, when I woke up in the morning, I remembered it was my daughter's birthday. She turned 1 year old on September the 14th. And it was just soon thereafter, all hell broke loose. And that's my fondest memory of what happened there. And the rest is just history.
Okay, and Mr. Crawford, you mentioned earlier the conditions that his regiment was going through in Korea. Can you explain those to me a little bit more?
Yes, the 5th Marine Regiment is the highest decorated regiment in the Marine Corps over history. And he was in the hotel company, what we call it now, hotel company, was Hal Company back in those days, I think. But they were extended over a number of hills of terrain in South Korea, in North Korea actually, near the Punch Bowl, which was a very hard-fought area. The opportunities for there were limited to just taking over the hills. This was after the big move to the north and then coming back to the south from the Chosin Reservoir. The Marines were moved to the west coast, and they were tasked with taking this terrain. And at this point in the course of the war, the value of the terrain became more important than anything else to both sides. And many lives were lost in that process just to have the commanding terrain. And he happened to be involved in one of the more serious battles in 1052 with the hill. We had hills over there with numbers on them, and sometimes the numbers changed because the artillery took them down from place to place. But he was a fire team squad leader, a fire team leader in a rifle squad, and they're the front edge, the pointy edge of the Marine Corps in combat. So what he did was phenomenal, and due to a high recognition. Marine Corps had his application since July of last year, and because there were some difficulties in getting data that they needed from supporting personnel like the corpsman and the commanding officer and so forth. And then some of it was perhaps lost. But the Korean War veterans, when I was presented with this issue last July, asked me to assist in doing this, and that's what we're doing. So what we're seeing now is a window where they think they have all the information they need, and the package will go forward for a July board meeting for the designation. We're not sure how that'll come out, exactly how it'll come out, but we're on schedule now, and we're grateful.
Right. And Sal, when you were in the trenches out there in Korea and going to save these Marines, what was going through your head when you were doing all of this?
Actually, I wasn't thinking of anything. It was something I was trained to do, and I was just following, not orders. I had no orders at the time. I just did what I was trained to do. I heard Marines that needed help, and I exited my bunker to go and help them, which I did. And coming back after I took them back to safety, I returned, and the bunker that I was going to go back to, where I originally came from, had a direct hit and also killed the individual that I was with there. So I ended up going back to where I rescued the 2 Marines, and I took up a position there because we were getting attacked by enemy forces. And I just took up a position, and I had no idea of how many there were, but all I did was I used just about every piece of ammo that I had. I used every hand grenade that I had. And after it was all over, I couldn't understand, but all of a sudden they started to retreat back down the hill. So I waited a few minutes, and then I come out of the bunker, and I looked down the hill, and I saw them actually retreating. I fell to my knees, and I thanked God that I was still alive. And then all of a sudden, other Marines started to come from behind me, and they looked down, and my lieutenant, who was my platoon leader, he went out and he counted 36 dead enemy troops in front of my position. And he asked me, how do I feel? I said, I feel numb. I didn't realize how I did this. I just didn't realize what I was doing until it was all over. It was hard to explain to him how I felt. Anyway, he recommended me. He says that he was going to recommend me for a medal. Unfortunately, 2 days later, my lieutenant was killed. But the recommendation never went to my commanding officer, because my commanding officer was wounded the same day that I was. Until some years later now, I finally met my commanding officer, and he made out all the paperwork and made the recommendation, and he sent all the paperwork into our councilman, or our congressman, I should say, and all the paperwork that they requested was all handed in, and now, like the colonel said, we're just waiting for the results and waiting for this recommendation to be carried through. Unfortunately, my commanding officer passed away. He wanted to be here so bad, but unfortunately he had cancer and he passed away. And I'm very sorry for that. And on the other hand, I'm surprised that they didn't just take the word of my commanding officer, who was a full-bird colonel, and just take his word and his recommendation, rather than waiting all of these years for all of this to happen. But like the colonel says, the paperwork is in now, and we'll just leave it up to them to see what's going to happen next.
His commander was a very famous Marine, actually.
Yeah.
He started our first recon company, and a lot of other things that he implemented during the course of his service, and whatever he would say ought to be respected by the Marine Corps for certain.
He served in 3 wars, the Korean War, World War II, and Vietnam. He's written 3 books, and you know, he was well respected, and he was also an attorney, by the way. And he was a very intelligent individual, and he had so many assets that he was attached to so many outfits in the Marine Corps, that I was just proud to know and meet him at the time that I did. And he flew me out there on his own money, by the way.
All right, guys. Well, our conversation on a Korean War veteran waiting 67 years for that Navy Cross continues right after we get a check on our First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Fascinating story there. Radar pictures showing just isolated showers and thunderstorms popping up here and there along the sea breeze front, and that is some outflow boundaries as well. The heaviest activity now located into Manatee County, and that is pushing off to the west. The showers around Venice and to the east thereof have since moved on. You can see some heavy rain, a lightning strike there just in the last 5 minutes near Bradenton, stretching up to Palmetto, some heavy rainfall, and along I-275 there near Palmview. Another storm, Parrish, could get a little bit more interesting here in the next half hour, as there are some outflow boundaries kind of interacting in that general area. You can see the motion and movement is basically off to the west-northwest, so it looks as though we may get a little rainfall, may catch near Robinson Preserve, but it'll be mainly north of that near Terracea, getting some heavier rainfall there. I mentioned those outflow boundaries. There's a couple right there that are going to collide over north sections of Manatee County, which will also make this storm a little bit more intense, I think, as we move into time. Not much going now down near Venice. That activity has since moved on, but there'll be other isolated cells popping up here and there across the area. And the activity isn't around all that long because of the relatively drier air that's in place in the upper levels of the atmosphere right now. And as far as the forecast goes this evening, as I mentioned, 1 or 2 spotty showers and an isolated thunderstorm possible up to about 9, 10 o'clock. And then we'll see mostly fair skies over midnight, after midnight, and sunny skies to start the day off on Saturday. A few clouds in the afternoon with an isolated shower or two popping up once again in the late afternoon and evening as we see the clash of the sea breeze and the east and southeast wind. There goes Ernesto heading off to the northeast, east-northeast now, and 31 miles an hour. It's going to continue to weaken as it pushes over some colder waters and head right toward Ireland, bringing some heavy rainfall there on Sunday. Tropical tracker, we were watching this system yesterday, had a 20% chance developing. Still going to bring heavy rain into the Windward Islands, but it's not going to develop anything tropical in nature. In fact, the Hurricane Center has dropped its chances down to no chance at all. 88 degrees in Holmes Beach right now, 90 in Braden, although these temperatures were taken about 20 to 30 minutes ago, so they're all cooling now as a result of that rain around the area and storms. In Osprey now 87 degrees and Northport at 90. Currently at the Sarasota Braden Airport, it's still hot, 88 degrees with a feels like temperature of 99. And as far as the high goes today, it warmed up pretty high, 92 degrees. The heat index, the highest it got was at 103 this afternoon. Well, the radar picture showing some showers over the northeast, kind of a cloudy day from Maine all the way over into Ohio and Indiana this afternoon. For boaters, seas will be running less than 2 feet out there. The light chop and the 7-day forecast then, slight chance for late day storms. Pretty good weekend ahead. A little bit better for some scattered storms in the afternoon. On Sunday, we have a wind shift change beginning on Tuesday of next week. We'll be right back after this.
The day you lose your strength is the day you lose your independence. Muscle is lost with age, affecting your energy, balance, and mobility. Before you know it, you're depending on others just to get through the day. But you can reverse and prevent muscle loss. Introducing MyoHealth, a revolutionary proven approach to increased muscle strength and function in as little as 30 days. Live life on your terms with more energy and confidence.
After a serious health issue put me down, MyoHealth's getting me back up again.
I'm doing activities that I haven't done for a long time. It really works.
MyoHealth is a safe, natural dietary supplement, the result of decades of research and 24 human clinical studies. You can live stronger at any age with greater strength, mobility, balance, and energy. Call or go online now and take the MyoHealth 30-Day Strength Challenge.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now,
800-604-0398.
Or visit SoClean.com today.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Tanya, come here.
Learning the right steps.
2, 3, 4.
Or making contact. It's not just about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about making the connection. It's about proving every kid and teen who enters our doors has what it takes. Great futures start here.
Welcome back. We're talking about a Korean War veteran awaiting 67 years for a Navy Cross. Here to discuss that is veteran Salvatore Nemo, as well as a man who recently took up his case, Colonel Robert Crawford, with the Citrus County Korean War Veterans Association. And Colonel, I wanted to ask you first, I know this is the first time both of you have met. What was that like for you? And also, why did you decide to take up Mr. Nemo's case?
Well, it was great to meet him because he's such an accomplished Marine, and I always appreciate that. But the process that he's undergoing right now is one where a recommendation comes in this case from his commanding officer and witnesses. And that kind of a collection is made by the awards branch. It's in the manpower component of Marine Corps headquarters in Washington area. And they have to then verify his service, the service of other people who witnessed it, and so forth. This all takes time. Some of the records have been lost. For the corpsman, for example, who we were concerned about, we had to repeat the serial numbers, both the Social Security number and the regular Marine Corps serial number that existed at that time. They finally got them packaged together. Our job at the Korean War Veterans is to be sure that we can assist in any way we can with this, and we were available. And he is a Korean veteran, so it fits. We did it.
Right. And Sal, I know you had told me you've tried to reach out to Congressman Vern Buchanan's office, the Quantico Marine Corps headquarters. You've tried to reach out to the awards department, but nobody has ever gotten back to you. No. Why do you think it's taking so long for you to receive this award?
Well, just like the Colonel says, I guess we had to go and wait for the process that they had to go through. And I have to be very patient with it because there's nothing I can actually do but wait. And so until they get their all the paperwork together and they process everything and then put all the facts together and then finally make the recommendation, that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, I'm convinced that some paperwork was shelved and misplaced temporarily, and all of a sudden, with a few switches and phone calls, it got replaced. So hopefully we had some impact to get that done.
Right. All right, guys. Well, we have to take a quick break. We'll have final thoughts with our guests when we return.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you see even hotter savings inside. Only at Rugs As Art Hot Summer Savings Sale event will you find the lowest prices on a vast selection of stunning rugs, furniture accents, and accessories. This special event only happens once a year, so hurry in before the best selections are gone. The Hot Summer Savings event ends soon, so don't miss out on the best prices ever. Rugs As Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
Pets bring so much joy to our lives. They're loyal, they're protective, and smart. Yet as smart as our pets might be, they can't advocate for themselves, especially in the event of a natural disaster. During Hurricane Harvey, many families were separated from their pets. That's why it's important your pet is part of your family's disaster preparedness plan. Talk to your veterinarian and visit banfieldfoundation.org/disaster. Don't save it for a rainy day.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We're talking tonight about a Korean War veteran waiting 67 years for a Navy cross. Here to discuss that is veteran Salvatore Nemo, as well as a man who recently took up his case, Robert Crawford, with the Citrus County Korean War Veterans Association. Colonel Crawford, I wanted to ask you, you and I both have been in contact with Marine Corps headquarters, and what have they told you recently about the current status of his request?
Well, the last contact was a couple of weeks ago, and they explained to me that there had been a missing document that they needed with serial numbers of the corpsman and both serial numbers he had. And I got a hold of Sal, ascertained the guy was still alive, and then we made a telephone call. Sal did to him, got the numbers, got them back to me, and I input those to the branch. The branch handles this, that adjudicates that processes all this, and then had the full package of information that they need. And based on that, they think they can get it to the September board meeting. A board of officers and enlisted men adjudicate these recommendations. Then it goes from there to the Department of the Navy for the SECNAV to sign off. Now that board could recommend the Navy Cross, or they might recommend the Silver Star, which is indeed the third highest award that can be given. And for his activity, he's a good chance of getting the Navy Cross.
Okay, and so you were mentioning that that could be about September, and we could possibly get some answers and maybe even have a ceremony for Mr. Nemo here in some time within this year.
We anticipate a ceremony. I've got a general officer ready to pin the medal on him if a congressman doesn't get involved, but we'll see how it works.
Okay, and what does that mean for you, Sal? I mean, we've talked about this. You've waited for so long.
Well, it'd be an accomplishment, you know, after all these years, and with the colonel working for me and helping me out as much as he has, it's making me feel a lot better. And he also advised me that there was a general who would be willing to make the award, which I'd be very proud to receive from him. The last time I received my award, it was from a 4-star general, General Zinni, and I was very proud to receive it from him, and I would be very proud to receive it from this general as well.
And you mentioned to me earlier that the corpsman who helped with your injuries.
Yes.
He was wanting to come out if you were able to get that award ceremony.
He definitely wants to come out. He lives in Michigan, and he says that if there's going to be an award, he would definitely like to be there at the award ceremony. And I just can't wait to tell him if, in fact, the date this is going to happen. And I'm sure that he's going to do everything humanly possible to come out and see the award. He's been waiting a long time as well.
I'm sure you have too. Now, Colonel Crawford, I wanted to ask you, where do we go from here? What's next in this lineup of things we have to accomplish to get this award done?
Anticipate a report out of the board not more than a week after the board meets, and I don't know the exact date of that in September, right. But it wouldn't be long before once it's approved and signed by SECNAV, which I anticipate sometime before October, mid-October. Right. And then we can arrange to have the ceremony wherever Sal wants it and with who he wants to participate.
All right, and some final thoughts for you, Sal? Anything you want people to know back home who are watching?
Well, I know that they're all waiting in anticipation, as well as my family and all my friends, and hopefully this will kind of enlighten them as to what's going on and to what we have to look forward to. and I would brief them on information that I receive in the future, and I'm sure that they'll be waiting to find out when this is all going to happen. It'd make me very happy.
Certainly. And for you, Colonel, any final thoughts?
Just that the Korean War has been lauded, considered as a forgotten war, not certainly by the South and certainly not by the North Korean and the Chinese, who lost many, many, many more people than we did. But we did have a lot of casualties in that war, and he was in the hottest part of it on those hills where I've been. And I can tell you that we were taking in casualties of something like over 52,600 during the 37 months of that war. That comes out to be like 980 some odd a month coming in. If you imagine that in today's circumstances, it wouldn't play very well with anybody. But missing over 7,000. They're still in those defiles in the mountains where we were. And the casualties, the 103,000 that were wounded. So it's a very significant war, and actually we got the job done. Even though it was an armistice, you're all carrying Samsung phones, driving Kia cars, and having other refrigerators made by LG. It says one thing: we won the war even though there was an armistice.
All right, well, thank you both for being here tonight. We want to thank Salvatore Nemo and Robert Crawford for joining us tonight. When we come back, Alan Cohn's exclusive interview with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris King. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now,
800-604-0398.
Or visit SoClean.com today.
Welcome back. We are just over a week away from the Florida primaries. We've spoke to many of the gubernatorial candidates. Democratic candidate Chris King stepped in and spoke with Alan Cohn on why he believes he should be the next governor of Florida. Alan?
Thanks, Jacqueline. Well, the race for governor is getting down to it. The primary is on the 28th. The Republican and Democratic candidates for governor are crisscrossing the state. And joining us once again is Chris King, the Orlando businessman running for his party's nomination for governor. Chris, you're getting down to it right now in a very competitive Democratic field. What is your strategy in the final few days, weeks before the primary?
Well, we're in the final weeks, couple weeks from today, and I'm on day 5 of a 12-day, 20-county bus trip across Florida, where I'm talking about some of the hard issues, some of the tough problems of Florida that conventional politics has failed to solve, and trying to provide the leadership that this state needs, and meeting a lot of interesting people along the journey.
You know, it's really tough when you cover a race like this because you want to talk to the candidates about the horse race itself, what you have to do to wind up as the Democratic nominee, but you also want to talk about the issues and what the distinction between you and your competitors. If there is one major difference between you and Gwen Graham and Jeff Green and Phil Levine and Andrew Gillum, what would that be?
Well, what voters have told me when they've said, Chris, we're voting for you, or we've already voted for you, is they talk about our willingness to show political courage, that our willingness to take on things like Big Sugar from the earliest days of my campaign for the benefit of our environment made me stick out in this race. My willingness to make criminal justice reform and institutional racism, standing up to policies and laws like Stand Your Ground that are not good for the people of Florida, I think that set me apart. I've been willing to say things and go to places in this race other candidates have not been willing to go. And I'm the first candidate, for instance, that said I oppose the death penalty completely, wholly, and would do everything in my power to bring it to an end in Florida. That's not something you're going to hear from another Democrat in this race.
A Democrat has not won the governor's mansion in 20 years in Florida. And local Democrats are looking for a winner, looking for someone who can change that. So they also want to hear, considering the Suncoast is a heavily Republican area, how can their candidate appeal to voters around here in an area that's rich with Republicans?
Well, Alan, first, I think we got to go to those places. You know, I was in Hernando County yesterday. Hadn't voted blue or Democrat in a long, long time. I'm in Sarasota County and Manatee today. I get some of my biggest crowds in red counties across the state of Florida because I believe I'm coming with a vision that addresses many of the pocketbook issues that impact Republicans and Democrats. And if I'm the candidate in the general election, I believe when I'm able to step forward and offer solutions to fix our affordable housing crisis, which is not a partisan issue, to try to cover or provide health care services for 2.5 million Floridians that right now don't have access to a doctor who knows their name. Again, not a partisan issue. Or our big idea, we're the only one in the field talking about free community college and trade school in the Sunshine State, actually modeled after the red state of Tennessee, a Republican governor who passed it, saying that it was one of the best economic ideas to lift wages and train the workforce of the future.
So what would you say to a typical Republican voter around here who just basically has a baseline belief that Democrats will raise taxes and Republicans will lower them?
Well, I would say I'm not that guy. You know, my background is I'm an entrepreneur. I started a small business from scratch 12 years ago, believing with hard work and discipline and a great idea that we could do big things. And today I serve affordable housing to thousands and thousands of families all across the southeastern United States. I believe Democrats have to demonstrate that we can cast big ideas, but then show how we're going to pay for them, and recognize that in a state like Florida, this is a low-tax state. People move here for a variety of reasons, one of which is they don't want to pay a lot in taxes. And so we have to be creative and strategic to make sure that we're not raising their taxes, but that we are investing in the things they care about that are important to their children and their grandchildren and the future of this state.
Okay. We are just getting warmed up here. We're going to have much more with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris King right after this.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, some showers and storms are scattered about. Not everyone got the rain. It's winding down near Parrish. Pretty heavy rainfall there, as well as into Palmetto. That has since moved on, though, so good news on that front. We don't expect a lot more activity, but there could be one or two lone storms popping up here and there. We had some rain near Venice earlier, and also you can see that activity again pushing off to the northwest. There's a lot of these boundaries floating around. You can see them into Hardee County near Wauchula, and we also have one right here along I-75. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. We could see a lone shower or two popping up right there in the next half hour or so. But the activity not as prevalent as it was yesterday because of this path of dry air that continues to move right over central Florida right now. It'll be around tomorrow too. And so limited shower activity in the afternoon and evening. Looks to be a pretty good weekend. And you can see from the Futurecast showing fair skies basically after midnight. We'll start off with lots of sunshine on Saturday. And as I mentioned, just a slight chance for a few late day storms. Not a lot of rainfall expected. Down to our south, I think there'll be a little bit better chance as more moisture is kind of bottled up down there. But by Sunday, some of that moisture does return, and so we'll have a better chance of those afternoon and evening storms becoming a little bit more widespread. But even then, that rain chance isn't all that high. Well, it's really quite unusual. Last year at this time, we had a hurricane in the Atlantic, and we were monitoring 3 separate areas for the possibility of development. And those areas were above 50% chance of developing. Today, no chance of anything developing in the Atlantic. So a tale of 2 different years, really. This year, we're not expecting a lot of intense storms. There's still a possibility, though, of getting at least 4 to 5 more before the season ends. The next 48 hours for that little system, no chance. Again, winds will be out of the east and northeast to start the morning off on Saturday. Should make for a really nice start, too, with lower humidity around, temperatures in the mid-70s. That's not bad with that east wind. But then by the afternoon, a little sea breeze kicks in, and right along that breeze, we'll see showers and storms fire up, but that will be isolated at best, as the rain chance will stay at 30%. Right now, it's 88 degrees, and the heat index is still up there at 99. There's not a lot of cooling showers in downtown Sarasota, but the overall picture showing low pressure area bringing rainfall into Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, all the way up into New York. Some severe weather, too. The potential for severe thunderstorms near New York, stretching up into upstate New York as well. Out west, it's the fire danger, the air quality problem due to the smoke of the recent fires. That goes on, and temperatures, it's 98 for a high tomorrow. 81 in Toronto, much cooler in Cleveland at 79, and 89 in the nation's capital, 85 the expected high in Boston. For boaters tomorrow, winds will be pretty light. They'll be out of the southeast, and they'll switch around to a south-southwesterly direction at 10 knots. And seas will be running 1 to 2 feet with a light chop out there. The water temperature now at 88 degrees, and the UV index will be high tomorrow, 12 throughout the day. Now, the 7-day forecast, 30% chance for late-day showers tomorrow. High temperatures, pretty much seasonal averages, although it will feel much warmer tomorrow. We'll have a heat index up near about 100 to 103. A little bit better chance for some afternoon showers on Sunday, Monday as well. But by Tuesday, coastal showers are back with us as the winds turn more westerly, and a real good chance for some storms next week, especially during the morning and early afternoon along the coast. Low temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s. We'll be right back after this.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking to Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris King. Let's continue our conversation. With the retirement of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy, we may well have a new Supreme Court justice that has made a lot of Democrats and a lot of people who believe in the woman's right to choose very, very nervous. If Roe versus Wade were overturned, it would be up to the states to write their own laws. You may well be dealing with a Republican legislature that might be the first thing that they would do. Democrats around here would want to know what your game plan would be.
Well, as you know, I'm pro-choice, and I believe it is the wrong decision to criminalize abortion. And so if that were to occur and this Supreme Court were to take our nation in a different direction, it's incumbent upon Democratic governors like myself, if I was so fortunate, to stand in the gap and protect the civil rights, women's rights, LGBT rights, labor rights, that I think all will be under attack in that kind of scenario. And folks can appreciate that if Chris King is the next governor of Florida, I will be very assertive in using the power of this office to protect communities across the state of Florida. You know, I said from my very first speech, in this state today, it is still legal to discriminate against members of the LGBT community in almost half the state. To me, that's not right, and it's something I will work very hard to fix upon election.
As I said at the outset, it's difficult when you interview candidates, especially this close to the primary or general election, because inevitably you have to talk about the horse race. You're up on television, everybody has seen your ads on this station and elsewhere, but you're up also against a guy who is a billionaire, another guy who is also a millionaire, and Gwen Graham, who has some kind of lead in the polls at this point. So how do you get from where you are right now to being the winner on primary night?
Well, I knew, my wife and I knew when we decided to do this was going to be an uphill battle, and it's clearly an uphill battle until election night. I've got to work harder, I've got to hustle more, but most importantly, I think what I have to show the people of Florida is that if they elect me, they're getting something different. They're getting a Democrat not only who can win, because we've lost 21 of 25 times since 2000 in statewide elections, but more importantly, they're getting someone who's willing and wants to be transformative, who's not just trying to win an election, but is trying to transform the future of Florida politics, trying to take on the sugar industry for the benefit of our environment, trying to be a champion for public education when we haven't had one in 20 years, trying to do things in criminal justice reform and affordable housing that nobody is talking about. To me, that's the type of leader that could really get Democrats and hopefully, more importantly, the general electorate very excited.
But are you able to do that when you have, let's say, call it as it is, a billionaire out there who is spending millions and millions of dollars on television to introduce himself to Florida Democratic voters? You have a lot of money yourself, but it's I would imagine it's hard to keep up with that.
Well, I think ideas matter. And, I might be idealistic or romantic when it comes to how people make decisions, but I found that when people meet us, when they hear us, when they attend an event or see one of our commercials, they come to appreciate that we're different and that our heart's in the right place and that we've got a big vision for Florida. And most of the folks who followed this race closely have said that I am the substance candidate. I am the one who has cast a vision for the state of Florida that would take us in a new and bright direction, and I'm hoping they'll choose that kind of candidate to lead them.
We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but President Trump has really upended the Republican race by inserting himself into the Republican primary. Congressman DeSantis has jumped out to a lead. What kind of campaign, whether it's you or the other Democrats, what would you have to wage to take on somebody of that kind of, from that wing of the Republican Party?
Sure, it's increasingly clear to me that Ron DeSantis will be the Republican nominee for governor, and he will have a President Trump here in Florida constantly fighting on his behalf. President Trump does not want to lose the Sunshine State going into the next presidential election. So for me, Democrats have got to choose a candidate who can go toe-to-toe with Ron DeSantis, somebody who can outthink him, outwork him, out-hustle him across the state of Florida. And we're going to have a lot of eyeballs on this race when it comes to the general election. And I believe that I've demonstrated in the debates, if people have watched me debating and if they've watched me speak across the state of Florida, that we have a vision that can go toe-to-toe with Ron DeSantis. It's different, it's progressive, it's bold, and it lifts families up across the state. It's compassionate, it cares about people, and that's the message that I'm going to fight Donald Trump with.
All right, Chris King, good luck to you in the final weeks of this campaign.
Thank you, Alan. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us. Alan Cohn will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Find out first at 4 on the Suncoast with ABC 7 News at 4. ABC 7 News at 4 starts with a detailed look at your first alert weather forecast to help you plan and prepare. We give you a fresh, fast-paced rundown of the day's top stories and videos, including breaking news, live updates, and traffic hotspots, all at a new, more convenient time. Find out first at 4, weekdays on ABC 7. Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC 7 News app. Download the all-new ABC 7 First Alert Weather app now. Like ABC 7 WWSB on Facebook.